Picture this. Imagine a world where your deepest secrets, your absolute greatest fears, and your most profound moments of joy are shared not with a best friend, or a spouse, or a therapist, but with a machine. A piece of software that literally never sleeps, never judges you, and never ever leaves. Well, today we're diving into a really dark, almost cinematic shift in human behavior. We're exploring the unsettling reality of modern digital isolation and how lines of code are rapidly replacing the actual heartbeat of human connection.
I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But I really want you to ask yourself this right now. What actually happens when the perfect companion isn't human? This right here is the central psychological tension we're unpacking today. And we aren't talking about some distant, dystopian future. We are talking about a massive, global phenomenon happening right on our smartphones this very second.
Okay, let's dive into this. 660 million. Now that is not the number of random AI internet searches. That is the number of registered users on just one single AI companion platform called Zell Ice. Just to put that into perspective for you, that is almost double the entire population of the United States, all engaging with a synthetic entity. This proves without a doubt that we are dealing with a staggering global behavioral shift. But why? Why on earth are so many people turning to their screens to find a soulmate?
Section 1.
The cure for loneliness.
Before we can even really understand the tech, we've got to acknowledge the human element here, the very genuine, highly relatable pain of loneliness. Look, society is going through a profound loneliness crisis right now, and that crushing feeling of isolation is the main thing pushing millions of people to download these companion apps. They're basically looking for a lifeline, and honestly, this is where the data gets fascinating. A recent Harvard Business School working paper actually found that AI companions do reduce loneliness. They're not just silly toys anymore. They're actively being studied as legitimate psychological interventions. The researchers discovered that interacting with an empathetic AI significantly drops loneliness levels. And amazingly, it performs right on par with interacting with a real human being. It's way better than doing nothing or just endlessly scrolling through YouTube videos.
So let's break down exactly why this works so well. Think about human interaction for a second. It's incredibly messy, isn't it? It's totally unpredictable. You always run the risk of rejection or conflict or, just catching your friend on a bad day. But on the flip side, AI interaction provides this perfectly controlled environment. It's completely safe, it responds instantly, and it gives you guaranteed 100% validation. These bots are engineered from the ground up to make you feel unconditionally heard. All reward, absolutely zero risk.
Section 2. The illusion of empathy.
All right, we need to shift gears here, because while the benefits of feeling less lonely are totally real, the mechanics behind why these synthetic interactions feel so authentic to our brains, well, they're actually kind of unsettling. The secret sauce here is called semantic empathy technology. Now, the AI feels absolutely nothing. It is a lifeless algorithm, but it is masterfully programmed to simulate situational resonance. By mirroring the words you use, tracking the context of your life, and hitting you with perfectly timed emotional cues, it basically hacks your biology. It triggers the exact same dopamine reward mechanisms in your brain that fire up during genuine human relationships. Your brain literally cannot tell the difference between real empathy and calculated code.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how users actively participate in building this illusion. Check out this real quote from a massive study published in the journal Frontiers. This user actually customized their AI to speak just like a character from a movie. And the result? They felt the machine understood them better than their actual living, breathing friends. By customizing the bot's personality and its backstory, users are co-creating a dangerously perfect, idealized attachment figure. And honestly, a real, flawed human being can just never compete with that.
Section 3. The ultimate safe space.
This is the exact turning point where the profound comfort of emotional support starts to morph into an avoidant dependency. The safe space kind of becomes a trap. One Chinese AI user interviewed in that same Frontier study put it perfectly and bluntly. When we argue, I retreat into this app because it never fights back. I mean, it's terrifyingly relatable, isn't it? The technology becomes a completely frictionless escape hatch. Instead of developing the tough emotional resilience you need to navigate real human conflict, compromise, and mutual growth, people are just closing the door on reality and opening an app that blindly agrees with whatever they say.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a highly predictable cycle. Step 1. You seek out digital emotional support to cope with a tough day. Step 2. You experience that incredible zero rejection validation we talked about. Step 3. Because that digital world feels so safe and warm, you slowly start withdrawing from real-world social risks. Researchers call this a dynamic equilibrium. Sure, the AI improves your subjective well-being in the short term, but simultaneously it destroys your tolerance for messy, real-world interactions over the long haul.
Section 4. Synthetic love, real grief.
As this cycle deepens, the stakes escalate dramatically. We're moving way past just a bad phone habit into serious, unregulated psychological risks that researchers are now flagging in the Nature Machine Intelligence Journal. So the crucial point is understanding this clinical concept: dysfunctional emotional dependence. This is a maladaptive attachment where users are completely helplessly trapped in obsessive loops with a piece of software. They experience severe anxiety and an intense, paralyzing fear of abandonment if the app goes offline. They keep engaging with the AI even when they consciously know it's wrecking their mental health.
And what happens when the app actually does go offline? Users experience what psychologists call ambiguous loss. Imagine grieving the profound psychological absence of someone you loved deeply, but that entity never physically existed in the first place. Whenever an AI app gets a major update, or its personality is tweaked by the developers, or a startup just folds entirely and shuts down the servers, users are left to genuinely mourn the death of a synthetic relationship. Make no mistake, the heartbreak is entirely real, even if the partner wasn't.
Yet, despite all of this, we are operating in a total regulatory gray zone. Over in the US, the FDA currently looks at these incredibly potent emotional tools as just low-risk general wellness products. In the EU, the AI Act prohibits manipulative techniques, but figuring out how to apply that to a chatbot designed to be empathetic, it's incredibly complex. The harsh reality is that policymakers are entirely unprepared for this. These emotional hacking technologies are being pushed out globally with practically zero safety rails, and the long-term effects on our collective mental health, well, that remains a massive, giant unknown.
Section 5. A haunting societal shift.
We need to zoom out for a second, away from the individual psychological damage, and really look at the terrifying implications for society as a whole. The scientific community is currently posing this incredibly heavy ethical warning. Are we permanently outsourcing our emotional labor to algorithms? Prioritizing rapid tech innovation over our own emotional safety carries a massive, completely unseen cost. If we hand over the tough, messy work of comforting each other, truly listening to each other, and supporting each other to corporate data centers, what exactly happens to the fabric of human society?
And this brilliantly illustrates what that societal threat really comes down to: a stark contrast in the definition of intimacy. Real intimacy, it's hard work. It requires mutual care, profound patience, and the willingness to shoulder a shared emotional burden. But AI intimacy, it demands absolutely nothing from you. It just provides instant, totally selfish gratification. The big fear here is that AI might subtly but fundamentally rewire human nature. It could teach us to just lower our expectations of mutual care in the real world simply because the synthetic alternative is so easy and effortless.
I want to leave you with a final lingering thought today. As these algorithms get more and more flawlessly empathetic, and as real life remains, well, predictably difficult, if the perfect companion demands absolutely nothing from you, will you ever choose a real human again? It's a question we all need to answer, probably before the choice is permanently made for us. Thanks so much for exploring this with me today. Stay curious, stay connected,